Today we're going to cover tripwires or threshold traps. This is any trap or effect that triggers by crossing the boundary between two tiles or two grid squares, as opposed to entering or exiting or moving within one. So in this example, I can move past this door, and because I'm a GM and I have magical powers, I can also go through the wall, and I can move past the door on this side. So I can move all around this door. I'm not triggering anything. But if I come down here and I open the door, and I step through it, triggers the saving throw. So it's only passing this threshold point. I can be in any of the surrounding squares, and it won't trigger it. And it's really, really, really simple to set up. Although it can be a little bit of a pain to work with, and I'll show you why. What we're basically doing is you can make a tile, like we'd have this place tile tool selected, and you can just drag and drop it, and that's the size of the tile that you're making. But what you can do is just drag. You start just slightly to the left of the line, go just slightly to the right and down. And it looks like it's not doing anything. It looks like it's not drawing anything. But you are actually creating a tile. And when you create the tile, it doesn't look like there's one there. But if you go to the selection tool and you drag over this area, you have created a tile that has no width. It is just along this line, but it's not actually in any of the surrounding squares. So again, it can make it a little bit of a pain to work with because they're easy to lose. One thing that can help is using the tile sort, but I found something that's better. And this is a module that I recommend to everyone, and that is the FA Nexus module. Now, one, it is a great resource for tokens and other art assets that you can drag into your scenes. In the paid version, you can also do textures and paths and as a building tool and everything. I'm just using the free version. But as you can see, they're very high quality art assets, and there are lots of them. And the nice thing is the art assets don't actually get copied on your computer. They don't take any drive space. You don't have to worry about where they're being stored. You don't have to worry about their portability, because all it uses is they're all stored in the cloud. And so when an asset is created, like if I create this one, I'll close this. We go in here and we look at appearance, it's a web address. So the nice thing is you add that asset there, and then you put that asset into a module, you put it into another world, you put it wherever, it's going to work. Because the file can't be misplaced. So it's a handy resource for that. But the other reason why I recommend it is it adds in this functionality here, FA Nexus Layer Manager. And this thing is awesome. As you can see, I scroll down the list, it highlights all of my different tiles. It shows the tiles by name, which is something that the tile sort doesn't do. It just goes by the name of the graphic. And as you see, all of these, they use the same graphic. They have the same name. It can be somewhat confusing. And although it does highlight them as you scroll over them, it's not as obvious. So I really like this one. This one also separates them by elevation. So like, for example, the scene background is an elevation of -4. So it's different from all these others. You can mask hide them, mask lock them. You can set in restrictions. I want to filter by different elevations or whatnot. And you can just double right click on a tile to bring up its properties. So it's very handy for working with tiles that are stacked on top of each other or things like that, but also these super narrow tiles that you're using for a portal trigger or a threshold trigger or tripwire, whatever you want to call it. So for example, the tripwire that I have set up there, I can just select it, and then I can double click on the resize dot to bring up its properties, or I can double right click on its entry here. And the other nice thing, as you saw, by right-clicking on it in here, it actually brings up all of the utility buttons. I'm not sure what these are called. But again, if when you've got overlapping tiles or really, really small tiles or whatever, it can be difficult to click on it to get access to these things. So this is a very handy utility that I highly recommend. But as far as the tile itself, there's nothing special about it. You know, it's just a standard tile that triggers on enter. You can also trigger it on exit. You can trigger it on movement, because all three of those things trigger as you cross that threshold. And all three of them will be triggered at the same time. So they won't differentiate between them. But drawing them this way allows you to have them very selective in when they're being triggered. It's only when this threshold is being crossed. People can walk all around it, and if you've got it set under like a door, for example, when that door is closed, so it's impassable, it can't be accidentally triggered. You still have the issue if these walls aren't here, or I'm a magical GM who can just walk through walls, and I'm moving on a diagonal, it still gets triggered. All right, so you still have to be careful about that. That is still an issue. But beyond that, it's a really simple, although a little frustrating to work with, but a very simple way of setting up a trap where it ignores the tiles that people are standing in and walking through. All it cares about is a transition across a boundary. That's all there is to it. Hope you guys found this helpful. Have a good one.